Are you ready?
I don't know. Are you ready?
I am. It feels weird to be back in the seat.
It kind of feels like going back to your childhood house and walking through it again.
Yes, especially when somebody else owns the house.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, hi, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of Father Knows Something. We have certainly been on a hiatus. I will definitely, it's probably like 3 months, it feels like.
Yes.
I don't know how long it's been. But, when we came back to the studio today, what was really funny is I said, oh my God, no socks. So I went and asked Morgan to please, see if there's any socks that I've left behind or abandoned. And she says, I think I have something. So I want to reach out to Chris Combs Chris J. Combs.
Ah, yes.
Because what a wonderful gift that Chris sent. And if you all look at the new revealing of the aquarium, we have new friends. And they just are having a great time.
What's that? What's the interlocking situation?
They're talking. I don't know. These guys are just going at it. So, Chris, and your love for Finding Nemo, you couldn't have done better. So, thanks so much because you made this show perfect by starting it with the new Nemo characters. They found somebody.
Okay.
So there you
Have
go.
you named your fish?
Right now it's left and right.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Well,
how
about
we go.
this? Oh, you can't see it on that side.
Oh, perfect. NASA. He is truly a space cadet. So,
Yes. Working at it every day.
Every day. So we are now just pre-Christmas, post-Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I hope everyone had a great holiday. We are now post-wedding.
We are alive.
And we are alive. And we are alive.
Yes.
So what's the theme tonight?
The theme is adulting.
Adulting. Fantastic.
A new word for you.
We all need to grow up. We all need to get to the threshold.
Would you like the definition?
I would love the definition.
The practice of behaving in a way characteristic of a responsible adult, especially the accomplishment of mundane but necessary tasks.
But it says responsible adult.
Yes. So like doing your taxes, that's adulting.
And not paying your taxes, sometimes adulting.
I guess.
Okay.
One way or another. All right.
Are we back?
Do you remember how to do this?
I don't. Short-term memory loss. All right, let's kick it in.
All right. This will welcome us back in officially. Hey, everyone. I've been listening to THT since 2021 and FKS since 2023. And I got to meet Jerry at the live show in Nashville.
Oh, we had a good time there.
I hope you all come back soon and wanted to congratulate Morgan and Justin on their wedding. Thank you. On to my issue. Almost every friendship I've had, I have had the same issue. I always end up being the person to put in more effort, and it feels I'm always more invested than the other person. Many friendships of mine have fizzled out because of this, and eventually I get tired of being the only one reaching out to make plans, get more extravagant gifts, etc. I'm always hurt and slightly jealous when I see my current best friend say to my face that she is so busy, she doesn't have time for me, but see her staying out late on work nights, which she insists she can never do when we hang out, or going on road trips with other friends. It makes me feel like she doesn't care about or prioritize me as much as I do her. I know I'm not her only friend, but she calls me her best friend. It doesn't feel that way sometimes with how she treats me. It feels silly to get upset over this, but I just want to meet someone who finally cares about me as much as I do them. I don't need to be the only person they hang out with, but I feel like if you claim someone is important to you, you should make your relationship with them a priority. She says she misses me and is craving a girls' day with me, but never does anything about it. For context, I just turned 21, but have been struggling with these feelings towards different friends since I was 11.
You're working really hard to have these friendships. And maybe you're over-investing and you have a high expectation. And friendships, shouldn't be that difficult. They kind of flow. You'll find a person you want to hang with, you want to flow with, and when it's natural, it's probably better. If you're finding resistance in some of this, sometimes it's you find other friends and you balance it. Sometimes it's overwhelming when you barrage somebody that to be with them 24/7. And sometimes that's better when you have someone that's more of a someone you're going to have a life with, because there's other people that are in these people's lives as well. Maybe someone that they're dating, a different kind of relationship. So you can't invest all your time into one person. You gotta find balance with your friendships. I have a lot of friends. Some of them I've talked to, weekly, monthly, daily. And of course, if you're in a relationship, you're talking to that friend consistently because you're functioning together.
Yep.
But I don't have to see my oldest friends or talk to them every day. I sometimes go years without talking to some of those friends. But I know at the end of the day that if something important was happening in my life, I would make sure that they were around to share it or talk about it or share the moment, because you do share with your friends. But don't invest with an expectation that they have to be at the same level that you are at. And I think that's where you can set yourself up for disappointment. And you don't want to have to buy your friends by barraging them. Give them space to breathe.
But at the same time, make sure you notice when someone isn't upholding their side of a friendship,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a balance between expecting too much or having a bad friend.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be somewhere in the middle. And that is part of adulting, is when you go through high school and college and you start to become more of an adult,
Mm-hmm.
become more independent and really find yourself. You tend to lose a number of friends because you start to find the ones that really are true friends, and those become your longer term
Right.
friends.
And some of these friends mature at different levels and grow at different levels. So you may have to find the balance there, but you kind of have to, read the room, I guess is a good expression that I've learned recently. And, know when to back off and not to have the high expectation. But when you guys can get together, you get together. If you get rid of the expectation, I think you're going to get rid of a lot of the pain.
Yeah.
And just accept what you guys can do together, but you're going to have to, have your own life where you're not dependent upon them to breathe, that you're able to breathe on your own. And I think you'll find more comfort in that.
Yeah. The ideal outcome, I wish I could just care less. I wish it wouldn't hurt my feelings when people don't make time to spend with me. I wish I could meet someone who calls me their best friend and actually means it. So it's really figuring out what that is for you and what that is for this friendship. Because a lot of times, I think my strongest friends in my life are the ones where we could talk once or twice in a 6-month period.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I'm back in town or they come visit or we're back together again, it's like no time has passed since the last time you saw them. Yes, you catch up, but the vibe between you is the same. It's not, you don't feel this imbalance. You don't feel this lack of friendship. I mean, you don't end up in the position you're in.
Mm-hmm.
It just, you pick right back up. And it's kind of like, at some point, friendship is just someone who's there for you for the long haul. Even if you might not, you go through a busy period, someone has a kid or XYZ, but then when you come back together, it's like, you're right back at it. There's
That's
no
right.
jealousy. There's no feelings.
It's peanut butter and jelly. Okay. Well, I hope this works for you and helps you.
Yeah. And that's also, something that's a little tough to learn or tough to get used to as you get older. And I had a really hard time with it, is all these friendships fading away. But it's natural. And the ones that are there really start to stick out.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Let's go for number 2.
Number 2. Hello, guys. Longtime binge listener of THT and fell in love with Jerry in a fatherly way, of course.
And I love that.
So I have now started the binging of FKS. Now let's get into why I'm here. I'll be 21 in 2 weeks, and I've realized the grief I carry for the loss of my father still burdens me a lot. His death was very difficult due to me only finding out about him being my dad when I was around 6 years old. He passed when I was 10. My mom was with another guy and did have kids with him, so he raised me as his own, even till this day. When I first met my dad, it was a complete surprise to me and an even bigger surprise to see I had a sister and stepbrother from him. Although I met him and my siblings and stepmom, I only came over and spent time with them a few times. His death didn't really have a big impact on me since I was so young, but now that I'm older, I've found it hard to get past him raising a family and not being in my life. I feel guilty grieving him since I barely knew him, but I also grieve the relationship we should have had. My sister had a very close relationship with him, so her grief is completely different than mine, and it's hard to relate to her sometimes. How can I get past the feeling of him not loving me? I can't even remember hearing him say, "I love you." We don't even have any pictures together. Ideal outcome is to come to peace with the fact that he is gone, and regardless, he was my dad.
These are great topics or great reads because some of them, they're very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And going through what someone feels for their father when they have passed, especially when they're young, um, you know, I was 30. I can't relate. But I can certainly relate with, people that were very close to me, like sisters that lost their father when they were 3 and 6. And a lot of it really, when you're so young, you don't get those deep-rooted relationships that you would like to remember. And plus, it's hard to remember back so far and what the relationship really was. But all you can really do is recognize that this guy was part of what brought you life. And without him, you wouldn't be exactly who you are. And for that in its own should give you some, acknowledgement to remember him and remember him fondly. Look, we don't know what goes on in our parents' lives and relationships when we're young children and the dynamics of those marriages and the dynamics of all the things that go on, because there's a lot of dynamic. So I think that in some ways you have to cut slack, especially in your position. It's not going to do you any good to hold any bitterness. So, someone special in my life, you really didn't know her dad as well as she would have liked to have. But when I met her and I went one day into, she was showing me some personal items that she had, and she had business cards from her father. And she says, "This is all I have of my dad." And I was crushed for her. So it's amazing that you are able to at least have knowledge of him. I wish am I correct that this person does not remember the father at all, or very little of the father?
Little,
Little.
but just not specific things like
Right.
him saying "I love you" and that kind of thing. But definitely between the age of 6 and 10, there's some memories for sure.
It's tough. It really is. I mean, I have memories, back when I was 3 of my grandfather, but I have no idea anything more than the fact that I was in a car and he was driving, and very little. So it's hard to really be able to connect and give that love that you would have for another grandparent, or in this case, your father,
Mm-hmm.
without really knowing him. But I would still say, cut a lot of slack for that relationship, and realize that there's a lot of dynamics that went on between your dad and your mom, I'm sure, especially with young kids, and who knows what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And just go with the positive side, because at the end of the day, if the universe is like we believe it to be, that we get to reunite with our loved ones in a universal way, maybe things do come full circle. We don't know.
Yeah.
But don't carry any negativity.
Well, I think that's another side of adulting is when you start to get into your early 20s and beyond, you really start to look back at your childhood, and certain things can either greatly affect you or be something you don't really remember or hold on to. So I can't relate to this one too much in the sense of a loss, but I remember a lot of times growing up, people would say, because I'm an only child, people would say, oh, don't you wish you had a sibling? Don't you wish you had a brother or sister or someone you could play with or do all these things with? Because I had that and it's so awesome. And I mean, sure, when you're young, you start to think about, well, oh, that'd be cool. That'd be fun. That'd be nice. But I think when you're looking back and you're looking back with the sense of missing something, I think it's important to recognize what you did have and what you do have. Like, I may not have had a sibling, but I had a cousin I grew up with, basically like a sister.
And maybe closer.
Yeah, and one that I didn't have to live with. You know, like they go home at the end of the day. You don't have to deal with that. But I think it's more, my mind goes to look at what you do have. And, you know, you do have this stepdad that was there from you through this whole process. And as hard as this can be, I always think it's important, in addition to what you were saying, to consider what you do have and use that to lift yourself up when you're feeling down on times like this. And, you know, maybe it will come full circle, like you said.
It's, you know, I do believe that. And I'm really glad that you at least had a stepdad that you had memories with and you had experiences with. And, you know, the fact that the universe took this father, your biological father, so early, it's unfortunate, but it's sometimes in reality, we have to look at that's life and we just make the best of it. But again, don't hold any negativity, because the negativity will do you no well, does you no good.
Yeah.
So I will say this, Justin, we have a lot of people that have comments, and I'm sure a lot of you out there might even have some thoughts for this person to help get through it. But if nothing else resonates with you, you might also want to consider getting some therapy. It might give you a way of walking through it.
Yeah.
And so consider all of this. See how it works.
Yeah.
So,
and that applies for any read, from even reads about good things. You know, I think everyone can benefit, and why not?
We wish you, hope this gives you some type of comfort and lets you go forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to number 3.
Number 3.
1, 2, and I don't know.
It's almost like this.
I'm trying.
But with your feet.
It's funny.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Jerry, Morgan, and Justin. I'm writing in to ask for advice about building workplace friendships. I'm a 24-year-old woman working as a consultant in a mid-sized company. I started at my job right out of college, and I've been here for almost 2 years. For the most part, it has been amazing. I find the work to be very fulfilling. The company is great to its employees, and I have experienced no drama whatsoever. My only problem is that I have not had much luck building a social network. My coworkers are very approachable and open to talking about projects, but not so much about anything beyond that. There aren't a lot of opportunities to socialize. Happy hours are rare, and people tend to guard their time since we're consultants and all hours need to be billed to projects for us to get paid. I love what I do, but sometimes it really bugs me that I don't have any work friends. I didn't think my first job out of college would feel so lonely at times. Do you have any advice on how to strike up work friendships, especially with people who aren't the most approachable? Thank you.
So guys, I have always worked in a different kind of environment than coworkers. And we had someone in the audience. This is Lisa. And she has made her life working in corporate America and working with coworkers. And I thought, who better who has gone from the young age in her 20s in this environment to where she is now and can share with you how to deal with some of these issues of making friends with coworkers, because a lot of your friends are from people that you met during work.
Yeah.
So maybe you can help this person.
So I completely understand how being a consultant and you have billable hours and socializing might be hard to do. And sometimes, and it's wonderful that you have um, a social life outside of work. My thoughts are sometimes organizations have like different small group things going on, like Women's Entrepreneurship Association or Indigenous people group. And people come together with like interests and form friendships from these kind of smaller groups. And maybe they meet during lunch and since a lot of companies are working remotely, these group meetings can be on like a Teams chat where everybody or Zoom, and everybody kind of just gets together and chit chats, and you all have like things in common. So I've done that before, and there's another avenue that you could do, which is all companies have HR departments, and sometimes they often have employee engagement departments and people who work in employee engagement. And this is kind of, if your company isn't already offering these kind of small group meetings, that this is something that your employee engagement or HR team might need to implement at your recommendation. Just letting them know, I'm feeling like I'm not making friends and I'd love to have some work friendships going on. And is there something you guys can implement?
And I can't help but think that having work friendships helps the big picture.
It does. I mean, in all of my jobs, I've made wonderful friends and stayed friends with them and kept in touch through all of the various different jobs that we've all had.
Because a lot of your friends who you once worked with, you're still friends,
Yeah.
but they've gone on, you've gone on to different companies, but yet
Yeah.
you guys still have your network.
Yeah, definitely.
So it really works to develop these friendships, not only for friendship and for work, but for life.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
And do it again, I hope, one day.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
So, Justin, thank you for letting Lisa come on. And you got anything else that you're thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think it can be really. I've had a lot of experiences where it's tough to make friends. There's certain events, or there were certain trips, study abroad type situations in college, where it can be difficult, and especially when you go in as a 14-year-old and you work in a corporate office and you're filing paperwork, and the person who's been doing it forever sees you as like
A threat.
an infection.
Right.
Like, you're messing up all my perfect work, even though I was doing it pretty damn good. It can be very unsettling and make it just feel so unwelcoming. So I'm just looking at the cross of, I love what I do, but sometimes it really bugs me I don't have any work friends. So I think all the things prior mentioned, yes. But if you still have challenges, there are, so many networking things, so many organizations that can be entrepreneurship based, that can be more specific to exactly what your role is and your industry. And if you need to at some point, you can utilize those as a way to find potentially your next job that maybe is within an environment where everyone's a lot more friendly and, that's more a part of the work culture. If that really bugs you, because I think when you can love what you do to the stars and back, but if it's not a great work environment, or it's just not kind of that full circle, then it can take away from how much you actually love what you do. And you can love what you do in many other places than just exactly where you are right now. So I think it's keeping the doors open and always, I think in this day and age, always be on the lookout for the next best opportunity.
And I got one more thought, that it's really important that while you're at the place that you are at and while you have that job, sometimes if you let everyone that you're working with, you team with them and try to assist with forwarding things that might work, but whatever work for them that you're not actually dealing with. You're going to build that team friendship. And naturally, if you're a good person and they recognize your goodness, they're going to want to become friends with you. And that in its own right will help develop these friendships.
Right. And I don't know how much you've tried to connect with these people, because you say that they aren't the most approachable. Have we tested that? Because sometimes your perception can really not be reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so all it takes is one, hey, we should do a happy hour, and you initiate it. And you never know. They might all be like, let's go. We should turn this into, and it goes really great. And you're like, we should turn this into a regular thing.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know. But I would try, at least if you haven't. But if you've tried, then start looking into some of the broader scope of what's out there and what's available. And who knows, could lead you to the next best thing.
We hope to hear good things from you. So let us know how it goes. If any of this, resonates with you, we and all the listeners would certainly like to know on the comments.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to number 4.
Number 4. I don't have a great relationship with my father, so I could really use some fatherly advice on this one. I'm having a bit of an issue with my husband's grandmother, and I'm not quite sure how to address it. For context, I am an artist and make a lot of my sales through Instagram and Facebook. Lots of my family members and his family follow my account, and their support is always appreciated. On to the situation. My husband's grandmother has recently gotten into using social media and asked me what my account was so she could follow me, which I happily gave her. Since then, though, she's been trying to give me advice that really isn't helpful or appreciated. A lot of my content and art is geared towards younger people, and I don't think she really understands it. She has started sending me videos of other accounts and suggests I do things more like them. She will send me a lot of cookie cutter type stuff that's totally different from my style and say I should make exactly what they are. Sometimes it's not even the same medium as what I do. For example, let's say I make stuff out of polymer clay. She will send me some painting and say I should make that. I've tried to gently explain to her that something isn't really my style or that I don't do that art, etc., but she doesn't seem to get the hint. It started to get to me a bit because it feels like she is just trying to subtly tell me that what I make isn't good enough. My husband says that she is just making innocent comments to try to help, and I should just ignore her, but the more she does it, the worse I feel. Should I really just let this go? Should I try to talk to her more bluntly about it? I even debated blocking her from my art account, but I think she would definitely notice, which would make it worse. Ideal outcome, to get her to stop giving me suggestions without hurting her feelings.
Sensitive way to handle it.
Yeah.
And you can't go to her and tell her to shut up. That's not going to work very well.
Well, you could.
Not for everybody. But you can certainly say, Grandma, I'm developing a certain product in a certain style, and it may not be something that you would be attracted to. And you're obviously not the person who I'm trying to attract as my buyer. And because Betty Ann and Josie over here are doing something that you like, I don't want to do what they're doing. They've got that market covered. I have a different market, and I am going to work on my market. And I hope that you'll understand and respect that as my goal. And I'm glad that you care enough for me, that you want to help me. But this is something I have to go, and I hope that you'll trust and believe that I have a vision, and I have to get through my vision, right or wrong. I'm going to ride this one out for a while. And should we find in a year or whenever it is that, or a time that I feel that I want to take a different direction, I would be glad to entertain other ideas, but not right now. It's kind of a boundary for me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, feel hurt every time that, that you're trying to, and I know you mean well. And I understand that, but I really do need to have positive energy for what I'm doing so I can do it better. So if you have a suggestion along the lines of something that I'm doing, I'm glad to hear it, but I'm not changing direction.
So you think head on.
With a nice tone, nice delivery, but with appealing to her understanding and drawing that respect. Not to be rude, not to say, God, I'm tired of hearing this shit. I don't want to hear you.
Yeah.
That's not going to go over well.
Yeah.
But when you say that you appreciate that she cares for you and that's why she's trying to help, she just needs to understand that you're going for a certain market. And as though that she's not that market, we have a big world, and somewhere else in the world, there are people that like that market.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's
Yeah,
the way I would
because
approach it.
my gut would be, well, just ignore it. But clearly it's gotten to the point where that's not possible.
It's pretty loud noise.
It's probably consistent.
Pretty loud noise.
Otherwise it'd be, it's just grandma. She's just, she's giving her opinion, whatever. Because it'd be like someone approaching you saying, Jerry, these boards are real nice, but I think you do real well with high school scoreboards.
I think they're right.
And you'd be like, well, I've worked on this design. I've worked on all of the technology behind it for, forever. You're trying to dive in and make the best product you can. It'd be a lot to switch. It's not the wildest idea because it still involves lights and displays and everything else, but it's still not what you're trying to do. So, if someone kept doing that and then, started sending you examples like, oh, look at this scoreboard. You could
say, I'd buy it myself.
So it's just like, after how much of that is this necessary? And I assume that this is probably the time because you're writing in and asking.
Mm-hmm.
Additional info, it's important for me to not upset or offend her. Like I said, I don't have a great relationship with my father or a lot of my family, and I consider my husband's family my own.
Mm-hmm.
I have a great relationship with the grandmother, but have never had to have a serious talk like this with her. I'm not great at handling conflict or confrontation, so any advice would be appreciated.
I just hope that if you've heard the tone that I use in this description, if it fits like a shoe with you to be able to say it that way, go for it. If it doesn't fit like a shoe, don't. So see how it feels, try it on for size, and if it doesn't give you a bunion or a blister, go for it.
Well, and it kind of helps you in approaching it that way. It helps you suss out where on the spectrum she is, right? If she is, like husband said, she's just trying to help. She doesn't know. She's just trying to give advice. If it's kind of more towards that side, then you'll get a read on it. Or if it is really, no, I think what you're doing is terrible, you'll also get a read on it. You can tell by getting them talking about it and getting it out in the open. And then, if it doesn't go well and if she doesn't stop, then maybe you got to block grandma.
Well, in adulting, you learn how to be an adult. You have to learn how to have conversations with people and get through them and not truly offend them, but to get them to understand where you're coming from, that you both can walk away and feel good, but not say, what a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I think approaching it that way does that. It accomplishes those points. So
Yeah.
Again, you have to try it on yourself and see how it feels.
I also think the other thing that's interesting about becoming an adult, as you get further into it, you'll realize that most problems and most things you have to deal with have nothing to do with you, that you've had nothing to do in creating that problem. It has just happened and now it's on your front doorstep and you have to deal with it. And I always would get so frustrated and annoyed by that, but really, that's just life. Because this had nothing, you're just out here doing your thing and this problem just kind of created itself. It's not that you're doing anything wrong, but I think that is another big part of adulting.
Let us know how it goes. We're going to go for number 5.
Yes.
Number 5.
Number 5. Oh, this one feels a little personal.
Tell me why.
Today, my husband's tuba was stolen from his car while we were out to dinner. My husband, male 33, and I, female 31, are both musicians. We have both gotten so many opportunities to travel because of our musical journeys. My husband has taken this tuba with him all over the country, including performing in Carnegie Hall in New York City. He has spent hundreds upon hundreds of hours perfecting his craft with this instrument. He is devastated. I have felt like projectile vomiting since we discovered his car had broken into. I've never seen my husband so sad before, and I'm honestly at a loss. I have filed an insurance claim. My mom and I are going to various pawn shops all over the city, and I've started a social media campaign. I guess I just need help in giving him support and peace throughout this. Ideal outcome? Honestly, to find his tuba, but I know the chances of that are very low. I just want to help my husband through this inevitable depression.
Horrible. The first thing that I was thinking is TikTok and Instagram to post quick memos to help me find my tuba. Because in reality, people really don't understand the relationship you have with an instrument that you have used or has become part of your life. It's a treasure.
Yeah.
And for what they're going to get for it in a pawn shop is nothing. And I hope that, you guys are in the area that you're looking at all the pawn shops and they're really, because it sounds like that's where it's going to end up. I don't think people walk around stealing tubas every day out of cars. It's about money. I don't think it was about the fact that somebody, had a kid and they were looking to go steal a tuba for their kid to go to school.
Yeah.
On the other side, I guess you have to just sometimes we in life, we are going to get stories. And this is one of our stories, that we had something that was so priceless to us and it's gone. And we learn how to grieve it and we go forward. As a thing, we try to replace it. And the next one will probably never be in our mind as good as the first one. It's like that chocolate cake that you had 4 years ago and you're still trying to get one that tastes as good. It'll never happen again. Your mother's chocolate cake was the best.
Yeah.
But, it's part of life. Sometimes we do suffer losses. I had my house broken into 3 times in like a 1 year period. It was the goofiest thing. I had my car stolen. Give you how bad things were. I got a rental car the next day. That car was stolen out of the garage. Had to call the insurance company again. So I understand loss. I had things that were priceless to me that were taken. And, you just realize at one point in time, it's only a thing. As much as it's an important thing, it's a thing. And we will go on with other things that will replace it. And we'll have other relationships with another tuba. And there's a reason for everything. We don't know it when we get it. It's always a learning exercise.
Yeah.
So there is something that's happening with this shit ass lesson. And I can't say it well enough, but don't think that miracles don't happen if you do the right things and it can show up. But I would definitely go on Instagram and TikTok and I would do some 15-second appeals where you were, what it was, and how important, and make it go viral.
I love that strategy. I think that's very powerful these days. Because, things that are irreplaceable, that someone would perceive to be replaceable, they just don't understand. It's just the worst, especially it's, I guess the closest comparison is like a sentimental object or jewelry or something handed down.
I've had it and I had it disappeared. I had a pair of his and her beautiful watches, the thinnest watch made in the world. It was called a Concord Delirium. I had a pair of them, one from Morgan, and when you guys got married, I was going to give you the other one that you guys had, and they're gone.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart, but there's no getting it back. We can look all over the place, but I don't even know the serial number that I had on them.
Yeah. But with that, like the watches, you're probably never, it's just impossible. There's like the chance that you'd be reunited with that watch is
never.
But
this tuba has a better shot.
That's what I'm saying. There's not so much you can do with a tuba except for sell it. I can't imagine there's someone out there going around stealing tubas to personally use. Oh, and I'm going to keep it forever. right? I think like what you said earlier is probably the closest with it's to resell. It's for the monetary value.
Mhm.
And so I feel like out of most objects that you could lose or have stolen, this is probably one that is,
It could be an interesting
it
story.
has a higher chance, right, of being located. Because even the ship, you know, even if you were thinking, oh, it's going to end up overseas. Like one time,
Another tuba.
no, but one time at a music festival, Morgan had her phone stolen. The next thing we know is we see on Find My iPhone, it's over way across the world.
Mhm.
And so with that, I don't think the tuba is going to end up, you know, because it's expensive to ship. It's expensive to move. It's not like you can just carry it in your bag on the plane. So I would think it's likely that it will show up. And yes, you may have to pay for it again.
Mhm.
But like we've said, it's one of those priceless items that you'll pay anything for.
Mhm.
So then at that point, it's like, oh, I lost this money, but I got it back. So I really need an update. But I think the TikTok strategy is perfect because you just film a video. And I've seen people do it where, hey, you got to help me find this person. And through TikTok, somehow they find the random person in the background of the video and they unite them and whatever. I think it can be done. And
Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram.
I bet you do have the serial number for your instrument because that's very common to have. So I think you would know it and you could actually make that known publicly.
Mhm. I wish them luck.
But if it never turns up, I think what you said is perfect because sometimes you don't get it back.
That's correct.
I've been on both sides of that.
By the way, both cars were found. Perfect. And the cars that got stolen, one
Yeah.
after the other, they both were found. So, and in one piece.
Well, see, I think the tuba is like a car. Like you can find it.
I think the tuba is around and it might show up again. I wish you luck. Do the best you can on all social media, and anybody that has any ideas in the comments what else we should do, put it in the comments to help tuba guy.
And just to round us out with the additional info,
Mm-hmm.
he is honestly the kindest, most loving human being I've ever met. He is patient. He goes out of his way to make me feel loved. I'm not always the best partner to him, and I know that. But in my heart of hearts, I know I'll find this tuba if it's out there. I just honestly want to do anything to make this better.
Well, thank you for sharing it with us, and I hope that this takes you to the next step.
Yeah.
I really do. Morgan has just informed us brilliantly that you can set up on Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, eBay, alert on what is lost to let people know that are out there that this thing is, if you have you see anything, smells, looks, or tastes like this tuba, that they'll notify you.
Yeah. Set up the keywords. If they pop up, you'll get notifications and just another strategy, but
it's out there. And look at the comments again. And I'm sure other people have ideas on how to get it into the social media network to recover this thing. Because people typically are good because we had a bad egg out there. Doesn't mean we won't find it. And if insurance pays you or you find out what it is, you get reimbursed by insurance to buy it back, I would imagine. So that's it for this episode. I'm sorry we took so long to get back into the gig, but we're back and we'll see you next week.